Hi, Luka.
What up?
It is nice to meet you. I'm such a huge fan and
Oh,
such
no
a huge,
way.
I'm a huge fan of Grownish. I had just decided to like binge watch this past weekend randomly. Can you tell us
If there's
a,
ever been a time to do anything.
can you tell us a little bit about what season 3 part 2 will be like?
There's a lot going on, I don't know if you saw last episode, but the water breaking and Aaron. And I think there's a lot of good social discussions, at hand. There's also a lot of really beautiful there's a lot of character growth, especially for like Nomi and other characters. Obviously, I can't, there's some things I can't say.
Yeah.
Most things I can't say because there's got to be an element of surprise, but
Right.
it's cool to see this group of people growing as characters as well. A lot of
Yeah.
character development and like pivotal moments, I'd like to say.
How much of I've always wanted to know this. How much of you is actually in your character?
About now, about like 40%.
Okay.
But at first it was, but then because the first season I was just a guest star. I just strolled in and I was like, yo, I guess I'm acting now. And then as like as I started doing it more and more, they had to develop a character, and which still has a lot of elements of like my personality. There's obviously a few things that are different, but
Yeah.
a good amount, honestly. It's funny, a lot of people they can't, you know what I'm so grateful for Grownish about too is they really expanded my fan base. They gave me a platform and they really helped me turn into the person I am today. So like, but I had a smaller fan base before through fashion and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. I had people that knew me through that world. And now, since the characters also got the same name as me, people go, "You're Luca from
Yeah.
Grown." And I'm like, I'm just Luca. But
Yeah.
yeah, yes, also from Grownish.
Yeah. That's super dope. Why do you think it's important to have like Black excellence and to showcase Black educated people on television?
Because they're real and they exist.
Right.
And it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it isn't always represented,
Mhm.
and but it's normal. I mean, it's not an anomaly. It's why wouldn't it be on TV? You know what I mean? There's a
Right.
million shows about educated white people. I mean, I don't understand why they shouldn't. To me, it's not even like a question. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's just dope to see it. Like I
Yeah.
feel like y'all the cool group that everybody wants to like see and everybody wants to like watch Grownish. I know just being Black myself and you being in the fashion industry and you also being in television, I'm sure you've had to overcome some trials and tribulations with certain things. Is there anything that you could tell us that you've had to overcome and like how did you persevere through it?
Just personality. I mean, uh, in the fashion industry, which is obviously there's a lot of whitewashing, right?
Yeah.
But it's weird also because I also came in at a time where a very pivotal moment in fashion where there's a new standard of there's a new normal, there's a new standard. What people used to call beautiful and pretty 10 years ago doesn't really necessarily stand now. Not to say that, I mean, those people are still beautiful, but I think people, there's a new standard of beauty. And, you know, from, these shows that more and more interesting models are walking, structurally speaking, their face and like different races, people I've never even thought existed before walking shows, which is sick.
Mhm.
It's kind of like eye opening to like see all of this diversity. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I'm saying it's going towards the right direction. And there's now every year there's more representation of people like us. So
Yeah.
um being in my position, I end up actually benefiting in a way where, I'm one of the not one of the first ones or anything, but I'm one of the younger ones that's been coming up for a while. So I want to use that to also hopefully bring in more, but I have, when I was a teenager, when I was like a kid, I guess actually a good story is when I used to live in Paris and I used to be signed to modeling agency when I was hella young, and I was one of the only black models they had, and this was like
Mhm.
almost 10 years ago, actually, like 9 years ago. And it was like, child, I mean, not child, but I was a kid, but I could have, there was just so much work, and I never got booked for anything. And then I was just like, they were just like, they told my mom, it's just like, it's just not what the market's looking for right now.
Mhm.
And looking at it now, so much has changed. There's so much more to go, but I'm just so happy to know that, like, hope my kid wouldn't have to deal with the same thing.
Right. And you are representing because you just got that natural swag, like you just got that essence. So I'm
I
definitely
be letting my dreads hang, man.
you got that swag.
Yeah.
So yes. So I'm definitely like rooting for you in every area. I wanted to specifically ask you about how did the Black Lives Matter movement affect you in 2020? Like how did it shift your world?
Well, that's a tricky question, right? Because it affected my world, but it also affected so much people around me.
Mhm.
And you are the company you keep. But it made me think a lot of, like, the way people interacted with it, to me, is how that was interesting to me, if that makes sense. Seeing
Mhm.
people being silent, seeing people not doing anything, seeing people reposting but then not doing anything on their own time,
Right.
and then seeing people not even posting anything and doing a lot of the work on their own time,
Mhm.
and seeing how my community and how my friends and the people I know interacted with it. It was sick, because then seeing a lot of people that might not necessarily even like with each other,
Mhm.
there's a lot of drama, animosity, and beef in this industry. But I think Black Lives Matter and just a whole political movement that's been going on, really made people realize, like, does any of this even matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, who
Yeah.
cares? Like,
Right.
who actually gives a rat? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's how it changed my life, where it's just like, there's so much, like, that doesn't matter. Like, how do we take the conversation forward? How do we push the envelope?
Yeah.
Like, that's how and my dad being super active, you know
And you guys have an organization, right?
yeah, we've been working on it.
Yeah.
These things take a minute. I'm 23 years old. I don't have a major team, and we're working on something for hopefully the next year or two. I'm just trying to work on a platform and an organization for, like, unbiased information to be in one place, a place of communication, a place where you could ask questions without being judged. And I also think, a lot of people are ignorant to the subject, and they're so scared. And I think also, which is interesting, why so much people were silent. They're so scared to say anything, to say the wrong thing, because people are the internet could be so mean, and somebody could say
Mhm.
something that is uninformed, and instead of somebody being like, yo, nah, this, let me put you onto this, they'll be like, what the wrong with you? And you're like, oh my god, you know what I mean? It's just like, so it's so scary for so much people. And I want to create a safe space with my father for, like, conversation, dialect, all of that. But
I
it's not
love that.
it's
And
not
I,
easy.
I can't wait.
I mean, hopefully it comes sooner than later, but it's really not easy,
Yeah.
dealing with, like, coding and, like, finding a guy that designed the website, but also finding source. It's just, the tech and website, like, that's a place I haven't ventured to yet. So, trying to make everything seamless and smooth, and,
Yeah. It's
work
gonna
it.
happen. And I'm rooting for you.
But I'm manifesting it, I mean, listen.
I'm putting the good vibes out there for you. Good
Okay.
energy. It's gonna happen. You got that swag, that natural, like I just feel like things come to you and it's gonna all work out and it's gonna bless other people
It'll
that look
figure
up to
itself
you.
out. I'm not stressing. And great things, Rome wasn't built in one day as well. So it's like,
Right.
and this conversation still needs to be had. Like, even if I don't finish this project this year, the conversation don't change for next year either. Because it ain't gonna, you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
You're not gonna reverse 400 years of racism in 2 decades. So
Period.
it's like, you know,
Right.
it's something that's still gonna need to be done.
For a young Black actor or a young Black person that wants to be in the fashion industry, what piece of advice would you give to them?
Just don't lose your integrity, man. A lot of people are gonna want you to be a lot of things, and also do think that, Black people are very fetishized, and a lot of people want us to be a lot of things, but don't ever be something you don't want to be. You know what I mean? Or
I
think
love that.
integrity is everything, and like if some person wants you to be this thing because like, oh my God, you're Black, like don't
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
do you.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Man, see, I can't even make that. Time will tell. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not necessarily a man with a plan. I have a general. I don't know. I just want to keep doing every year. I want to do bigger and better, and hopefully, you know, you can't. If you set expectations for yourself, you're leaving area for you to be disappointed. So
Yeah.
I just want my legacy to be me, whatever the hell I do.
And whatever that is gonna be swaggy, it's gonna be dope, it's gonna be effortless. That's the I'm trying to get some of your essence because that's what you give me, and I love it. And I'm actually rooting for Zoe. I'm receiving it. I'm rooting for Zoe to be with you. I know you got a girlfriend in Grownish, but I'm rooting for you for real, for real, for real.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
Have a
Thank
good
you
one.
so much. Thank you.